this is almost going to make me sound like a bad person, but I was able to feel empathy again. I was able to feel compassion again. I was able to feel um, gratitude for the first time, because when you were confronted with those things, when you were kind of like overwhelmed with your own thoughts and feelings and bullshit and ideas, any one thought was completely daisy chained into something else, and I'd be like, oh, that's like, oh, that must be hard, but not as hard as this. I mean, that is pretty hard. I mean, okay, what would be the harder thing? And then all of a sudden you're like 10 steps away, and you're just kind of like, yeah, you're right. I think defecting from Cuba to play in Major League Baseball would be a lot harder than like sneaking out of like Bosnia.
It's Johnny Late Night! And now here's your host, Johnny Rogers! Welcome back, everyone, to episode number 41 of The Johnny Rogers Show. My guest today is a comedian and actor located in Toronto, Canada. He has a unique perspective as an Iraqi and Iranian Jew, combining traditional Jewish humor with old-school Arabic tradition. He's best known for his electric performances, bringing energy and excitement to crowds across Canada. His comedy combines absurdity, nonsense, wordplay, and he has an eye for self-deprecation. He's also an actor whose work can be seen on Netflix, YouTube, CBC, HBO, and Amazon Prime. He's been featured on Private Eyes, 12 Monkeys, Wayne, Fear Thy Neighbor, V-Wars, and Titans, just to name a few. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my friend and yours, Brandon Zakkai. For starters, how was your time in Ottawa? You're just here doing comedy shows at...
Yeah, that was fun, man. I mean, like, first off, like, I've gone out of Toronto a couple times, and like it's awesome. It's great to get out. But man, we made it by like the skin of our teeth, because like I think the show started at 8 and we got there at like 7:55. And we literally ran out the car, sat down, did our sets, and then we didn't even really get to drive around or see much of Ottawa, like, so it's really nice though. I'm like you're there, so but like I was pleasantly surprised. It's like Ottawa just kind of looks a little bit like Toronto, but smaller.
Yeah, I just like the less people part of it. That's nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess you have so much less people that like the club was just filled with Toronto comics that day. It's like you had 3 Ottawa guys and like 4 Toronto guys. I'm like, holy shit, wow. I was kind of like hoping to like hobnob Ottawa style, but it just didn't happen. So
was there like an audience, or are you saying the comics were the audience?
Oh, no, I'm not saying the comics for the audience. There were like 18, 20, 22 people in the audience. Cool. I'm just saying like the lineup, if there were like 7 or 8 of us, like almost 5 of us were from Toronto.
Yeah.
Well, and I would have.
That's the thing here too, is like I find a lot of the Ottawa comics, most of them, I see like all of the different shows that are getting put up, like different book rooms. Some of them are open mics, some of them are booked rooms where you have to like just message spot ahead of time and they put you on. Not like we're used to, like there's not too many, I noticed, like produced shows where the lineup is just selected,
Really?
Because in Toronto, that's an easy thing to do. If I go to a bar and I'm telling the bar owner, hey, I'm going to bring you a killer show. I've got these 5 people that are going to be on the show. They're each going to do 15 minutes. It's going to be a great night, whatever. And then I message those people privately and see if they're available for that date. I don't see too much of that happening here. It's mostly, here's my show, who wants to do it? And then they select through that. It's a strange process that I'm getting used to.
When you select through that, like they like
they'll
sign up
go
on
through the comments, who said spot, and then just pick the people that they want for the show.
Oh, I mean, I know what you mean. That kind of happens here too, a little bit.
Of course, but it's not the only way that things are getting booked. That's when it's like,
Yeah, because it's more like, hey, I'm running a booked show, and then at a bar, and like spots are available, and then now you just have a list and you just kind of go through it and like kind of curate it as need be if you like want to like have
it's a lot of the same people I noticed too, which I'm like, okay.
In Ottawa or in Toronto?
In Ottawa. So I'm like, that either tells me that like there's not that many people that are like wanting to do 1 million spots a week, or there's not that many comics,
I mean, doing
those people could be hustlers. Those people could be just hustlers, right? And they're just getting on every show that they possibly can, which I get. If you're new, trying to find your voice, like do it,
Yeah.
To me, it's not worth my time.
It's hard. It takes a lot of time and effort, and I like to think I'm at the point where it's like, all right, if I'm booked, I'm booked. If I want to do new material, or if I just wrote something and it's like itching me, I'll go. But yeah, I can't like, dude, I can't do 5 nights of open mic anymore.
No.
And I don't think it's because I'm like better or anything. It's
No, not
literally
at
just
all.
I'm older. I'm like getting tired and
Yeah, I
all
don't
that
want to be
jazz.
out till 2 a.m. and perform for people who aren't paying attention. Like it's not,
Yeah,
I can do more things with my time that are more valuable than that. Like it's not gonna, unless you, like you said, I need to try out something that's like a
yeah,
very loose idea. Like I don't even
mm,
really have a punchline for it. That's a different story, right? Like you don't give a fuck if anyone's paying attention at that point. But
exactly. Well, that's the whole point. Is sometimes it's like just to hear the words come out of your mouth for the first time and hear
yeah,
them like resonate and ring in a room, and you're like, ah, shit, maybe that didn't sound as like clever as it did in my head. Like, and then
I've
you could
had
like
so
take it
many of
back.
those.
Exactly. You're like, and then, haha, I know, like, isn't it crazy? And everyone's just kind of like, bro, you just said like 4 gross words in a row. And I'm like, oh
That was
shit.
it.
Yeah. But
There's sometimes though where it's like you'll present an idea and a part that you didn't even think was funny gets the laugh. And that's always odd. You're like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
Do you want to know the oddest part? There's like a bit that I do consistently, and I know where the punchline is. It's like build up, like set up, build up, punchline. And one time I got the biggest laugh on the build up for some reason. It's just like people just laughed at the second part, and then the third part, the punchline, like just landed like a thud.
Oh
And
no.
I'm like, holy shit, I should have just kind of walked away earlier. I'm not
Yeah.
going to make that mistake twice. And something happened where that happened again, where those buildup, I'm like, what the fuck? So I stopped there. And then I forget exactly how, but I took that punchline and like transitioned it to a different bit, or like was able to
Mm.
present it a different way. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
repurposing bits is always nice. When you find a new use for something, you're like,
oh,
oh,
fuck.
okay, all right.
Well, I think I'm at the point where like I've done a bunch of fives, done a bunch of tens, done a couple or a bunch of 15s. And like if I want to get those strung
Oh,
together,
for people who are not comedy, we're talking very inside
yeah,
baseball now, which always
yeah,
happens whenever comedians get together. But he's talking about 5 minute sets or a 10 minute
yes.
set or a 15 minute set.
I don't even
So
think I started by saying my name and who I am and what I do. I think we just
I
started
told
talking. It's
him.
like, oh, how's Ottawa? Yeah.
I
Um,
told him. I told him.
okay, cool. Um, yeah, so like if I recently did like 20, 25, recently been doing 30, like, which is good, but you find like, oh shit, this 5 minutes works 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this 5 minutes works like A, B, C, D, E, F. So like now you got to try and mix them and get them to like flow into one another, because you used to have your old flow points, and now you
Mm,
kind of got to like
yeah.
throw in stuff. And
Yeah. Try to
I
find transitions that make it sound like it's always been that way. You're like, oh, fuck.
I would say that like that's what I've been experimenting now at like different smaller book shows or open mics when I can. I mean, I'm always just now you kind of treat open mics as like, all right, let's futz around. Let's like do a
That's when you
character. Let's
should. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Well, that's what
Do
you
an impression or something. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
go on stage and just be like, all right, here's what I would
here's,
do if I was a rabbi. All
yeah,
right. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
literally what I
yeah.
did the last open mic I was at. I'm just kind of like,
Yeah,
hey, I should be a rabbi. Like a quick
just did
comedy, be a
stand up
rabbi.
as a rabbi.
Oh God bless. I really should.
You should go on stage in full garb and
Hold on one
just
second. I think I got something in my eye. I don't want to do it on camera. Everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, he's fucking playing with his
I think
eyes."
about that too. I'm like, if I'm like wiping my nose, I'm like, everybody's gonna think
Mhm.
I'm doing coke.
Yeah. What would I be doing with my eye though? Like everyone thinks he has pink eye or something. It's like running with like
Yeah.
shit particles in his eyes. No, just every other part of my body. No, let's keep going.
We named this episode gratitude. Like we said
Mhm,
before, we don't even know where it's gonna go from here. But
mhm.
why was that your word of choice? Like, what's going on with that? Because I've experienced it before in my life and not
Yeah.
experienced it, so I want to hear from you.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's gonna get like heavy and a little like not about comedy, which
It's
is
okay. My
fair.
fans are used to it. It's all right.
Not, oh, nice. Hi, fans. So I would say around December, January, like right before the last lockdown that we had here in Ontario, uh, I think for the first time in my life, I got properly diagnosed with like ADD or ADHD. I forget which one, but I started taking that medication, and all of a sudden, almost everything changed in my life.
Wow.
overnight. Like my perspective, the way I was able to, not overnight, it took like a month and a half because like January was really tough. We were all shut down. But as soon
Mm.
as things started opening up and getting normal again, I started feeling like, oh wow, I can be calm. I can like really process one thought and one emotion at a time. I can not always be overwhelmed and stymied by this onslaught of thoughts and feelings and just kind of being stuck in this like fight or flight paralysis versus like acting out cycle. And it just changed so much. I was able to get in touch with thoughts and feelings and emotions I hadn't felt in a long time. And then this is almost going to make me sound like a bad person, but I was able to feel empathy again. You know, I was able to feel compassion again. I was able to feel um, gratitude for the first time because you know when you were confronted with those things, when you were kind of like overwhelmed with your own thoughts and feelings and bullshit and ideas, any one thought was completely daisy chained into something else, and be
Mm.
like, I'd be like, oh, that's you know, like, oh, that must be hard, but not as hard as this. I mean, that is pretty hard. I mean, okay, what would be the harder thing? And then all of a sudden you're like 10 steps away and you're
Yeah.
just kind of like, yeah, you're right. I think defecting from Cuba to play in Major League Baseball would be a lot harder than like sneaking out of like Bosnia. I like you're like so far away from where you started, and you don't even realize that you're being distracted. You don't even
Yeah.
realize that like anything like that. So all of a sudden now you're like, I'm feeling, yeah, just different. Just it's almost like a brand new world. So part of that, you know, how that leads into gratitude, I would say, because that is one of the feelings. But why I chose gratitude specifically was because you know when you're dealing with different challenges in your life, and you know we've all have challenges, we all have baggage, we all have our own personal history and whatnot. Um, One of the things that they encourage you to do, and when I say they, I mean like the people who you know try and teach you self-help or teach you you know mindfulness or consciousness, whether that's like your meditation teacher or whether that's you know like a spiritual person in like your church religion or belief system, or it's your family or your therapist or whatever it is, you know, something that they always say is practice gratitude. And that was something I was never able to do because
Mm.
gratitude would daisy chain it to something else. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, what am I grateful for? Well, I'm grateful for my father. Yeah, he is getting old. Oh my God, wouldn't it? Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, I'm just like, I just love everybody, and everybody should be good, and everyone should be happy. And I wish I could build them a statue to show them how. Like, it's just you're not really doing
Yeah.
what you're supposed. That wasn't something that would click. That wasn't how you show or feel gratitude. Gratitude is now something that I can like be like, yeah, you're right. I am happy about that. Yeah, you know what? That was good. It's something that you just remind yourself about how okay things are when other
Yeah.
things aren't okay,
Yeah.
and how you know feel closer to people. There's like it means so many different things to so many different people, and some people can be grateful for things, some people could be grateful for people, some people can be grateful for art or situations or whatever it is. But it's one of the things that we, or at least I, can now use to anchor myself when you know confronted with the hard parts of life. You know,
Mm.
there's
Mm.
so much that like we're all dealing with and feeling with. Um, and I've been thinking recently, it's like, man, if you're sitting across the bar from somebody and they like say, oh man, uh, my dog just died, or my cousin just went to jail, or my dad has cancer, or my mom broke her leg, or you know, my niece is this, or my nephew is that, like whatever it is, you'd feel for them in that moment, right? You'd give them a hug, you might buy them a beer, you just listen, and you would
Mm.
be like, fuck, man, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I'm there for you. And now I realize that that person is everywhere all the time, all everywhere. Every person you see, like that is happening to them somewhere.
Yeah.
And if they were across the bar, you'd give them a hug. You'd want to treat them right. And now that I'm aware that we're all carrying this with us, now that I'm aware that like, or at least conscious of that we're all carrying this with us, now that I'm like conscious that this is something that people are dealing with when they're doing what they're just trying to do day to day.
Hmm.
Um, it makes me really think about how I want to be better to people and how I'm thankful for and grateful for every decent little thing and opportunity and little victory.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for you just being, you know, here having me on today. And I'm grateful for the person who served me my coffee. And I know it just sounds like a little hippy dippy thing, but it's like things could have gone so bad so many different ways in
Yeah,
so many
dude.
every little instance, so just
Especially when you start, like, that's one thing I realized with this podcast is when you start communicating with people and just seeing what people are up to, and they're talking about different thoughts and ideas they're having or recent interactions that they've had. Most of the time I'm like, holy shit, I couldn't imagine like going through that myself. Like I just couldn't put myself there. And then what you said really like opened something up in my eyes, and it's really something that is like it's there all the time. Like you just said, everyone is dealing with like some shit at all times. So like even
yeah.
that's huge. That's a revelation for me right now on this podcast. I'm like, God damn, that's so true. And I'm
That's
gonna think
awesome.
about that now all the time. Because I'm like, you can practice gratitude in that, like, just telling yourself that you're happy to have a roof over your head, or you're happy to have like a stable job, or you're happy that your parents are alive, whatever it is, whatever you're grateful for. But like, I think one of the greatest things is being able to express that gratitude in a way that like changes someone's shitty situation, right?
Yes.
Like if we're all experiencing that simultaneously, like I'll never forget there was a night when I lived at like Church and Wellesley. There's a lot of homeless people that live in that area, and like you said, I started to become like really cold, like really like numb to it. Like I don't really give a shit, just walk past every single person, never give change, because if I give change to one person, then it's the old saying, if they say it, then you got to give it to everybody, right?
Yeah.
So living there for so long, you just become immune to like people dying in the streets. It's fucking morbid to say, but like, hey, it's the truth. And one night I'll never forget, I was just like feeling good, whatever, and I was took the trash outside at the back alley, and it was just like pouring rain, and I didn't even care. I was like, it's raining, whatever. I'm still having a good time. Like that's how grateful for my life I felt. I was like, yeah, this is great. Will cool me down in the summer. And I see this homeless guy just like underneath this little ledge thing, and he's like trying to get out of the rain. Like it's fucking up his day. It's not like me, like all smiling in shorts and a t-shirt. And he's just sitting there shivering, and his clothes are completely soaked. And in that moment, I was just like, this can be like a life lesson moment. And I'm sure everyone comes across these moments too, where you can either go down one path or you can go down another. I don't know why this one person out of all of the homeless people that I walk past, I just felt something for him in that moment. Like, I can help this person. Now the decision comes down to, do you do it? And it literally was a matter of like going into my house, getting a towel that I never use, getting a shirt that I never wear, and just giving it to him and completely changing his day. And that was the least that I could do. You know what I mean? But there was still this like weird, and tell me if you've experienced this too, this weird creeping thought that I had to push down essentially, that told me when I picked up that shirt to give to him, but what if you need it? What if there comes a time when you need this shirt and you're just giving it away? And then I thought to myself, I'll just buy another one. It was $10.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't have that luxury to just buy another. But that the fact that that thought was there, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's weird.
I mean, you did it at the end of the day, and like we're always going to be like confronted by feelings of like fear and like what if we are in a situation when we won't have you know the ability to deal with something, and that's part of life. But like in that moment, like if you can believe in yourself and your own resilience, and like I will find a way,
Mm-hmm.
that will always carry you through. uh that rain thing reminds me of that scene in Parasite where there, have you seen the movie
Yeah. I watched that.
where
It was a
like
while ago, but
where like the rich people in the back are like, oh, it's good that the rain is here, it's going to be nice for the flowers, when like little did they know that the family living in and helping them, like their entire life was destroyed by that flood.
yeah.
Like it completely destroyed their house and their home. And yeah, like it's perspective
Very
is,
symbolic scene.
yeah, there you go.
About perspective too, right? Like,
I like in our line of work, um it's difficult. We deal with a lot of rejection, a lot of disappointment, a lot of competition. And we have to remember that, like, when we're doing whenever we do it, we're living somebody's like dream in a weird way. Not because we're like rich and famous or anything, because like I can guarantee you we're not. But like there's an accountant or
I
a
can
dentist.
guarantee you we're
Yeah, seriously.
not.
Um, but there's like an accountant or a school teacher who's like, man, I wish I was doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I could go up there and do that. So you got to be thankful that you are doing, what you love and what somebody else is doing, and you take it for what it is and all that. Yeah, I've just been so so overwhelmed, ironically, with all these new emotions, feelings, and like wanting to help others and like lift people up and create better environments. And it's again, I'm not like, it's not like all kumbaya, like I'm going granola or something. I don't know. I guess that's like not, maybe,
That
because
should
I
be
don't
the
know.
name of the episode.
Yeah,
Going
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 granola.
granola.
Shit. I mean, because here's the thing, like we're in like ours, we're taught not to be like in touch with these things, or like like softness is weakness, and it's like this isn't
Mhm.
softness. It's just like not like stop being an asshole anymore. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
no
It's
more.
just be honest.
Yeah, no more walls of like, don't talk to me because you're not this, or like like I'm not
Yeah.
going to respond to this because it's like this. It's just kind of like, dude, the person trying to talk to you is a human being too. You're a
Hmm.
human being. Just because you like sell more tickets than somebody, or because they make more money, you make more money, or you drive a better car, it's I don't know, I'm over it. I'm just so thankful for like
Yeah.
the opportunity to enjoy life again, to be excited for things, and to have like maturity and presence of mind to deal with what comes, and have that capability now that the fog's gone.
That's a good way to put it too. That the fog is gone. Like
Mm-hmm.
clearing that those thoughts of competition is huge. Like, and I think the pandemic did a lot of like what we're talking about as well with people, is like changing our perspective on things,
Mm-hmm.
realizing that like everyone is just human. Like even the people that are in power of our countries, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. We realize that real quick, right? And
Mm-hmm.
everybody else has their football play of what they think should have happened after the fact. But like, I think realizing that everyone is human is great, because when you see someone succeed in a field that you're interested in, it should be encouragement, not competition.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think, wow, if another person like them could do that, that means I could do that as well.
That's so hard in our industry, because we
So
all
hard
treat
to
each
do.
other like competition. And even though we're like, again, I do acting and comedy, so it's like, if you're not in my category, you're not my competition, dude. It's like, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? It's like, unless you're like another, like, I mean, unless you're this, I'm not worried about it. Like, and if I meet this, I'm like gonna be like, fuck, where have you been all my life, man? It's like, right? I guess I if yeah, if you're not in my category, you're not competition. I feel the same way with comedy, man. There's like so many different things that people find funny. There's so many
Yeah.
opportunities to get stage time. There's so many people on earth, and so many ways to reach your audience. It's not just that there's 3 channels on television and like they put out 10 shows a year. That's not the case anymore.
Exactly.
There's space for everybody. And like, yeah, it sucks when like your name's not on a poster you want it to be on today, but you know what, yours is on a poster that they want to be on another day. So it's like it all evens out in the end. And actually, it's good, just like story time, man. It's like I was at a bar with some other comics, and those comics had like been doing some good things in film and have like started making a name for themselves, getting like
Oh,
good
nice.
work and like stuff like that. And like I'm in the place now where I am happy for them. Like, wow, that's actually like amazing. And like, it just seems so possible and real and tangible again. Cause like before, old Brandon, or like pre-medication. And you know what, I have to kind of segue a little bit too, because part of it too was getting rid of a lot of bitterness and resentment. Now that the fog's gone, I can finally put into place all the uh tools, tips, tricks, therapeutic methods, and all that stuff that I have amassed over the years from like reading the books and like going to therapy, which I'm like, pretty open. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So now that the fog's gone, I can actually start putting these things in practice. And like, yeah, I was able to let go of a lot of bitterness and resentment that like I've been carrying with me for a long time, whether it be like during like, like family upbringing, childhood shit, or just, like business and comedy and career shit. And like, it's like, once that was gone, I am now able to completely be like, oh, fuck, man, you're on that movie? That's sick, dude. Like, oh, that must like, dude, you're living somebody's dream, man. Like that's amazing. And then they say, dude, I'm living my dream. And I'm like, dude, you are. And that's what's cool about it. And I feel like just because I was able to be happy that day and be happy for somebody else, and like again, not going granola on you, but the universe provided, because that same night, two people just in that bar walked up to me and be like, yo, I've seen you on Netflix. Yo, I've seen you on comedy. And I'm like, bro, I'm sitting here standing with somebody who I think is like, the big star. And I get that love and recognition and attention in that moment. So it's like, God didn't make me go without that in that moment, like I got to have my thing too. The universe looked out, and, because I was able to have a good attitude and love and appreciate and genuinely be happy for somebody else, I was able to get my flowers too. And
you can see someone when they're like soaked in negativity. They reek of that, and their life reeks of that. Like they don't look like they're doing well, and it's because their mind isn't, and maybe they're feeding themselves horrible things too. But it's as simple as like just being happy for other people and like being openly like that. You're now that guy, because there's so few people that are like that. And so you're happy for someone else, let's say, which makes you happy, and then people notice that, aka they notice you. Because like I said, I posted this on Twitter, I'm sure a million people have said this as well. The reason why so many artists aren't famous is not because they are not talented, it's because of obscurity. You do not have enough people looking at you. If there were enough eyes presented on your work, let's say 10 million people or 300 million people, you only need like 1% of those people to just stick with you and buy all your shit or come to all your shows. It's obscurity. It's people who just can't get seen. And by being positive and people looking at you, that's another way you get seen. People are like, oh, I recognize you from Netflix. I just so happen to be running this event. Do you want to MC it? You know what I mean? Like it's event, like opportunities happen so quick like that.
Yeah, you have to put yourself out there, and like when you are happy, you shine bright, and the brightest light catches the most attention. So, and that's not about brightness as in terms of most intelligence or like how like talented you are. It's like it's literally just like how much are you shining in that moment, like how magnetic and like on. And it's not to say like, yeah, it's just you see happy people in the bar and they're fucking laughing and smiling, and obviously they're gonna catch your attention. And the guy who's just kind of like sitting there like,
yeah, you're like, that guy's gonna murder all of us.
Yeah, he might. No.
He might. Gary, he might.
Yeah, I never. I had a drama teacher in high school who said never trust anyone named Gary. I don't know why that stuck with me, but
sorry to anyone out there watching named Gary.
please keep giving me shows, Comedy Bar.
Oh yeah, Gary Ryder.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Full circle Gary moment.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, Johnny here. Just want to take a quick second to thank our newest Patreon subscriber, CLB. I appreciate your support, and because you are subscribed to the show for just $1 a month, you're getting this episode before anyone else. If you want to be cool like CLB, head to patreon.com/TheJohnnyRogers and join in on the fun. All right, now back to the episode.
We just, speaking of Comedy Bar, I guess this is a little bit of a plug, but it's about what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Is I've met so many young new comedians since the pandemic like not finished but like has subsided in its current form right now. People have wanted to come out, they want to do comedy, they want to live their dreams after being like stuck inside all the time. Oh, we're screen sharing now. Yeah, oh, you're doing this, you knew exactly what I was talking about. Fuck, man, you're oh, that's huge, dude. That's huge.
I gotcha.
Exactly what I was talking
Go
about.
on.
Ah, man. And yeah, over the course of just, the past year, I met people who maybe had done comedy once or twice or two, three times. And I was able to kind of each and every one of those people up there I have a personal relationship with, man. There's a story there. She came to Hawaii Bar. No, wait, not Hawaii Bar. Film Cafe when I was hosting it. I was just so nervous, but she was a great writer, and I knew that it was her first time. And I told her, stick with it. Message me. I'll show you when there are mics. I'll get you up and out. And after she killed both shows at the Fresh Breath. 2 nights, sold out at Comedy Bar. She killed both shows. And I was able to pass her name on to other bookers and, introduce her to other people. She's been booked again at Comedy Bar. She's been booked on other shows. And I'm so happy for her. Nina Fan. Yeah. Nice. I just saw her yesterday at Comedy Bar. I don't know if he's going to love me telling this story, but Dimitri, he went on stage again at, I think, Film Cafe, lost a little steam, kind of put the mic down so that I can't do it. And I said, dude, chill.
That happens.
Yeah, I just said, chill, dude, chill, get you back up there. Like, he acted like it was a big deal. And I'm like, dude, this is so normal.
It's not that serious.
And we got him back up there. He did great. And, kept seeing him at mics, and he's going to get booked I think he has been booked in that show. I think we're booked together soon. But yeah, again, everyone here is getting Christy. She was there with Dimitri. She was his friend that night. And I didn't even have to tell her anything, man. She had her voice already set. She knew what she was saying. Right. She had personality. She had more personality than there are people in this country. Like, let's fucking go. There with his wife, we both, worked massage therapy for a while. Anton Borda, he's been booked already. He was the star of night 2, man. He fucking crushed it, like killing it. Like, this is all great. That's Jack. He did his first set at Groove when I was hosting. And he had all his people out there and kind of like revealed his new name and told an amazing story. And I just knew that, like, there's this amazing storyteller. Fuck, man, you're gonna make me go through all of them. This is amazing. This is JJ.
We're getting into it.
This is JJ Marsh. And JJ ran the light at Film Cafe by like 6 minutes. And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And I go, how long have you been doing comedy? He's like, this is my second time. And I'm like, yo. I just went from thinking you were being an asshole to being like, oh, this guy's like so nervous and excited. He didn't know any better. And dude, this guy,
30 minutes of jokes.
this guy, he lived in Brampton, was working in Toronto. I live in Vaughan. So he fucking I asked, he said he wanted to come over, go over material. I'm like, okay, do you have a car? He's like, yeah, I have a car. Okay. So he went from Brampton to downtown, and then he went from downtown to my place, but he's like, I can't reach. He didn't have a phone. He didn't have internet. And I go, what took you so long? He's like, oh, I was taking transit. I'm like, bro, I asked if you had a car. If I knew you were taking transit, I wouldn't make you come all the way here. He's like, yeah, well, I have a car. I just didn't want, gas is expensive. I'm like, bro, so this guy shows up, travels across the city just to come sit down with me and go over his jokes and material.
Wow.
And like, I've never seen anybody work so fucking hard because of passion. And this guy's an amazing kid. Like, I'm Team JJ. He's a streamer too. Got to check him out. That's Steve Appleyard. I think we skipped somebody, but that's okay. That's Steve Appleyard. No, okay, we're good.
Oh, yeah.
I met Steve just through open mics. Him and his girlfriend were just really nice and supportive, and Steve just really wants to do well and has come out to support shows, even though there was no chance of him getting on, and opened up about like just was real. He was willing to have like real human conversations. That's Kenley Koo. She's a new comic. By the time she went from the moment I booked her for this show to the night of the first show, I think that was a 2-week period. She went from having never done a show at Comedy Bar to, by the time that show happened, she was headlining the show after us.
Wow.
I just moving so fast, like
amazing.
Literally going to be completely fine. All these kids are going to be great. Just how much time they want to put into it.
And it's the next class of comedy in Toronto. All thanks to Brandon.
Oh, shush, man, shush. But just gave them an opportunity to go on stage, and they performed in front of a panel of bookers, headliners, promoters, producers, and were supposed to get constructive feedback, they all crushed it. They fucking killed. And yeah, they're getting booked now, and yeah, the sky's the limit. And now they got shout outs on the Johnny Rogers show. So like they're gonna get that bump, you know, first the Johnny Rogers show and then Jimmy Fallon. So I've seen it happen before.
It's
gonna happen
move.
again. Yeah. Yeah.
We're in the same J's. You just go Johnny Rogers,
Yeah.
then right in. You go back to Jimmy Fallon.
It's reverse alphabetical.
Yeah. That's how the late night. That's how the late night circuit works.
Exactly. And then afterwards you go Jay Leno. You go back in time to do this.
You go back in time. Johnny Then you go back to Johnny Carson.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh man, what a dream that would have been. Yeah.
For real, right? Imagine getting the wave over to the couch. That doesn't exist anymore.
Bro, here's the thing. I just got booked on the Smothers Brothers Variety Hour. All right? Like, it's happening.
Shit. Is Rich Little dropping a set?
Yo, Rich Little and Tiny Tim are doing spots, man. Fuck. I know this stuff. Yo. You want to hear my impression of Abbott and Costello at a music festival?
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Hey, man, who's on first? Okay, that's it. If we're doing old school comedy, then I had to throw that one in
there. Somebody will appreciate that. I'm not checking my demographics, but I'm sure there's some old heads in here that are like, Abbott and Costello joke. I love it. You just had to sit through all of the gratitude talk.
Ooh,
that's all.
You know what? I'm glad. You know what? I figured that joke found its home on the Johnny Rogers show, because I've seen
it's home and resting place.
Yes. Oh fuck. I just saved a bunch of 80-year-olds being to go see my act at a comedy club. I got more old school material.
It's like, you're performing at the retirement home soon.
Shit,
I gotta brush up on my Abbott and Costello impressions.
Hear the classics from Buster Keaton to W.C. Fields.
Like, anybody remember Johnny Cash? Start going.
Oh man.
What's
new on your circuit, man? What's doing this? I saw the album. I got to listen to a little bit, but I've been like literally smashed since I think we were supposed to record Friday, then Saturday to today. It just hasn't been.
Yeah, we gotta keep moving it around.
But when's the gigs? When are you guys doing Opera House and Cathedral here in Toronto?
For people to reach out, dude.
Yeah, all right. You put it out there.
I put it out there, yeah. I just like literally put it out there almost as like a need for me to just put it out there, you know? Like, it's not even, because if I were like trying to be properly produced, then I would have not released it and waited until like a studio liked it. Because most people who are like trying to get into music, they record a demo and then they take it to like a recording agency and they try to get it booked so that they can get studio time. Me, I'm like, I'm just doing this for fun. Like, I just enjoy, like, there was something about like finding, during the pandemic, I was just getting recommended like beat channels. Like, it was just channels where it was literally just like a beat. And I would just put it on as background music because I don't really like people talking as I'm writing like scripts and stuff. So I'd be like writing these scripts for work and just listening to these beats. But then in my head, I was hearing words and I would accidentally even like type them sometimes. But like, there was this weird thing happening as I was listening to it. My brain was just like subconsciously like coming up with lyrics, like just words, just random words. I was like, all right, cool. So I just started typing it down. And then I'd revisit it after work and be like, all right, let me listen to more of this and see what else I can come up with. But it was fun. It was a fun, like, I felt like it was a fun, like, learning exercise for even my comedic voice. Because I notice now when I'm on stage, I'm like, what, a lot calmer. Like, I'm like, I've just completely, like, I have this nice pacing now. And it's almost rhythmic because I made over an hour worth of music. Technically, you can call it music. There's like 30 minutes of songs that are like the first thing I ever worked on in the first year of the pandemic that are on SoundCloud. And then this new 30 minutes I put out on iTunes and Spotify. So there's like an hour of just me doing hip hop material and like enough, and I did enough like, repetitions within that, and I hung out with a few like producers and hip hop artists in Toronto and did like freestyle sessions with them, and like kind of just hung out and collabed on their songs and stuff. So I was like
Nice.
surrounding myself in that environment, and I was like, this is really cool. But part of me was still like, oh, I bet I miss comedy, because there's nothing better than just like, it's just you, just your voice. There's nothing else, and you're dictating how that amount of time is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Hip hop and music in general is just like the same hits over and over and over again, and you don't control what's popular. You make
Mm-hmm.
you make 10 songs and one of them becomes super popular, and you're like, that's not even
Mm-hmm.
my favorite,
Mm-hmm.
but now
I
you got
mean,
to perform it 1,000 times.
kind of the same way with your jokes, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you
true
don't.
too. But they
I
have a
mean,
little
like,
more wiggle room to change. Like, if music can't really change, you could do a remix maybe, but like Lil Nas X did like 9 remixes of that one song that took off
mhm.
for him.
And like when you like some artists, I guess they like deconstruct their like hits on stage, like like they might like instead of playing it on guitar, they'll like play it on piano and like do a
Sure, yeah.
ballad version or something like that. But yeah, I know what you're saying, but about it probably making you calmer on stage. I mean, you've gotten so far out of like your wheelhouse or comfort zone or like what you intended to do to begin with, and you allowed yourself to be more like exposed and vulnerable in that scene when you know that you could have just kept doing what you've been doing and like killing that comedy. So yeah, of course you're probably like way more relaxed. You've taken on an entirely different art form, and whether we choose to, you know, I'm gonna say succeeded at it because you did it. You did it. It's out there. It exists.
Yeah,
Like
the numbers, the streams don't really matter at all to me.
no, it's
It's not like
there.
I'm trying to make an income off of this.
Exactly. I feel the same way sometimes. Like there are certain things when you're like, okay, this isn't my main, but I find it interesting and I
Mm-hmm.
love it. So I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna allow myself to be bad at it. I'm gonna allow myself to struggle. I'm gonna like because otherwise, like how I think most of us are, if we choose to do something and we stick with it, and if we're not good, we take that very hard. So like I was like, and it's gonna be corny or whatever, but like I got a ton of light coming in, so I'm gonna lean back a bit.
Just
It may be
chilling.
corny or yeah. Hold on, maybe if I
Just tilt it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like I love magic and card tricks. Like I just love that shit. I love David Blaine. I went to go see him. And, for my birthday a few years back, my friends went to go took me out to like cocktails and magic and stuff like that.
Nice.
More close up at cards and mentalism more than like the big showy pieces of like I'm gonna make a house disappear. I mean it's cool, I guess,
Yeah.
right? But it was like, okay, I'm not going to be a magician. I don't want to be a magician. I find it super interesting. I'm going to allow myself to like learn some tricks. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to. Because I find it cool. I find it interesting. Just like some people want to pick up the guitar at like 50 or 60, and they
Or
have no
skateboarding.
illusions. Yeah, and they have no illusions. It's like I'm not doing this to be Tony Hawk, and I'm not doing this to be guitar. I can't name a guitar player for the life of me.
Les Paul or Jimi
Penner, Bon
Hendrix.
Jovi, Jimi Hendrix. There we go. I'm not doing this to be Van Halen. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I the fact that you're like, I'm not doing this to be whoever your hip hop idol is. You're doing it to be you, and you're doing it to do it and have fun and create something and put it out there. That's brave. Like it's brave to do that publicly. Some people like I would never like you did it for you and then you put it out there. So that's both parts are brave. You know what I mean? It's brave to try something new and it's brave to let everybody watch it.
I think I just hit a point where I was like, life is so goddamn short that why do I care what anyone thinks about what I'm doing? Half the people don't even know what I'm doing, like let alone care to have an opinion on it. So for the very few people that choose to spend their time hating on or loving whatever it might be about my stuff, that doesn't matter to me at all. Like it doesn't affect my day-to-day whatsoever, right? What matters is like, am I having fun? Because this is my life. Am I having a good time? Great. That's all that matters. Are my loved ones around me happy? Great. That's all that matters.
Do you feel like that's easier to do? Do you feel like that's easier to do when you're online or when you're like doing your stuff like how
Oh
do I
no,
put it?
I've carried that right over into like, yeah, if I'm complaining at the bank, I don't care
Hmm.
if I'm embarrassing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I need to get something done. If raising my voice gets that done, then I do it. I don't like hold back because I'm like, oh, what are people gonna think of me? I don't care what people think of me.
I think, you know what, I'm learning lessons every day. Like
Hmm.
I said, like all these, like since January, practically, new feelings, new emotions, everything for the first time. So, I'm still learning myself, when to give the people what they want, and when to be myself, and when to give people what I think they want. And I think maybe some of the things I've been chewing on lately, is coming out here, where it's like, you know what, just don't give a shit sometimes. Like maybe I gotta be a little more unapologetically me, and stop trying to fit myself
Hmm.
into square pegs and round holes and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm learning that stuff too, because like, after you have that clarity, you almost want to not make amends, but you want to, like, show that a change has occurred.
Hmm.
And where I may have been a little, like, restless or loud, or you know uh, whatever that may have been, because I'm not even going to get on my own case about it now. If I was rude to anybody,
Yeah.
if I ever did somebody wrong, you want to just say, like, hey, like, things are different, so you try and, like, go hard the other way.
Hmm.
I like, wanted just to show that off. And now I'm just kind of like, okay, we didn't I didn't start this journey for their benefit. you
Yeah.
know I didn't. I'm not, like, feeling all these things for them. I'm actually doing all this stuff and making all this progress for me. So now that I've done it, and now that I've done it, now I'm thinking, like, take what you've learned, take everything that you've shown, and now just be better at who you are, not
Yeah.
who you think you need to be, now that you're trying to prove things to
Yeah.
people.
I mean, at the end of the day, dude, as long as you're not hurting anyone, like,
Yeah, I mean,
well,
obviously.
you're right. Like that's a given, but it's always something that I feel should be said. But like as long,
True.
yeah, as long, because like I said, the bank analogy or whatever, right? Like there's one thing like. I hit the bank teller in the face because I don't care what people think. That's not what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Mhm.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just
Mhm.
saying like you shouldn't spend your time like trying to people please, like trying
Mhm.
to be like, oh, even with comedy, comedians have this so much, and it's why so many comedians blame the audience, right? Like they're always like they blame the room, and it's like the room is fine, like
Mhm.
it's just your confidence in delivery, or it's there was something else going on in your brain that you weren't entirely present, and they felt that. You can feel when a comedian is in their head the whole time,
Mhm.
right? And if you just don't really care what they think and just deliver the stuff that you find the funniest, they're gonna, like, same thing with the person smiling at the bar. They're gonna want to be friends with you. They're gonna want to like hear what you have to say, just by
Mhm.
virtue of you not really caring what they think. There's something attractive about that. There's like people want to be around those people because they can't really get they can't give and receive validation, right? Like someone's like great set, and you're like thanks, and then they kind of stand there. It's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's because they don't know what to do after they give the validation. And if you are seeking a lot of validation, then you will like keep disappointing yourself, really.
Yeah. On those notes, first off, like, as a comedian, my philosophy is, like, you can never blame the audience for a bad set, because you were in control of every step, of every decision that was made up there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're new, or if you're experienced, you're getting constant feedback and constant back and forth. Like, that's what the live portion of stand-up comedy is about. That's what you can't get in sketch or in movies and all that stuff. You get to see their faces and hear them. So, like, you gain the experience to pivot and adjust and make new decisions, and try and save things and change things. So every decision you make up there is yours. So you can't blame an audience for a bad set. you could just say, oh, I didn't handle it right, or I should have done this. That's why you tape everything. That's why you go back and, like I had a bad set recently and I'm like, oh shit, you know what I should have noticed? Oh, well, like I stepped on my own punchline there by doing setup, crowd work, punchline. Oh, fuck, well, that's never going to work. Or, it's like, do you see how many people are in the room here? If I did this quieter joke that like typically only half the audience gets, there's not enough audience to carry while the other half of the audience tries to figure it out, or like they just get to write it off.
Yeah,
So
it can be like a problem with the audience without it being the audience's.
It's not the audience's fault. Yeah. It's your fault for not recognizing that particular audience.
You're judging. You judged it incorrectly, right? Like the same way that someone's like preparing to do, I don't know, like give an example, but like they just misjudge it. Like a pilot trying to land a plane and he thinks that he's got enough runway room and he doesn't, like he just judged, the runway wasn't the problem, like he judged it incorrectly.
And the other thing I wanted to say on that was like, when it comes to like pleasing people, I don't even necessarily mean the audience, because that, at some level that is always our job. Like we are there to kind of entertain and have fun, and like, entertain doesn't necessarily always have to mean make them laugh.
Me, dude. I'm there to have fun. Entertaining is a result.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of both, dude. There has to be a good mix of both, because if you're not having fun, they're not going to have fun. You're not going there to be an ass. So, and you are there to entertain and have fun. That may not always mean make them. That may not always lead to laughs. It may lead to like smiles. May lead to like quiet payoff. It's not all one thing. But when it comes to people pleasing, I feel like we fall into the category, or the problem, we fall into the trap, let's say, of trying to please the people above us. When, whether that is, people who are more famous, or people who have opportunities to hand out, or people who are gatekeepers in some way, shape, or form. When, we've been doing that for a long time. Everybody does it. And I'm not saying you have to stop doing it, or I'm not saying we should stop doing it. But I think the best thing you can do for yourself, and this is just through talking to you, because it's like, because I'm like, fuck, I gotta do more of like what, pleases me, what leads me, makes me happy, or not worry about so much what they think, because what's going to get their attention more than anything else is if you're doing well on your own, not whether or not you fit into their box, because like they have their box, they have their reasons of why you're in that box or out of that box or don't fit into that box. But if you just kind of create your own box and your own category, and like there's nobody like you, and you're just doing well, they're gonna want you anyway. And I think that's just And the other thing is, like, instead of kissing ass or like trying to please up top, I'd say a lot of what I'm feeling right now, or feeling lately, is like, let's bring the bottom up, let's raise the floor, because this way we all get higher.
I mean, look at what happened with Jesus. He only had 12 followers, and now he's in every single hotel room.
Most successful Jew I know. There you go. Shit. Oh man. I'm trying to think.
Jesus joke.
Yeah, a good Jesus joke.
A Jesus joke.
Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
Guy gets booked everywhere. He's always on the road.
He has people doing his act all over the country.
Like Gallagher.
Yeah, just like Gallagher.
They look alike.
I couldn't imagine that life. Oh my God.
Which one, Gallagher's or Jesus's?
Gallagher's. I can imagine. I don't want Jesus's life. That sounded horrible.
Yeah. So does Gallagher's. So does Gallagher's.
I don't know. At least Gallagher got to smash some watermelons and doesn't really have any responsibilities.
Are you telling me that Jesus wasn't like No, hey mom, look! I turned watermelon into watermelon juice.
That's the CW show we need, is Teen Jesus.
Oh fuck yeah!
When are they gonna do that?
With like a Riverdale crossover.
Yeah, there's like
new exchange student.
Parts to
yeah. I mean, like, it is Jesus, so there's supernatural parts to every episode.
He's got a
the supernatural part is built in for the premise of Jesus.
It's insane though that they it's not the CW. I'm just using that as an example, but I guess they probably do it as well. But all of those shows, like Riverdale, for example, it was like normal, and then just went completely off the rails. Like they're like, I don't know, let's just write in vampires or something.
I mean, you're competing with Stranger Things and superhero movies.
Yeah.
We need something.
We need something
Man.
different. That's the problem. Is like everybody always tries to copy the model that's currently working.
Yeah, or like, dude, that's like honestly, that's why I would say the the only movie I've seen in so long, like, because like I like movies, but like old movies, like not old, but like you know what I'm trying to say. It's like what's
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
out and new in the theaters right now doesn't interest me so much. But dude, I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, and it was the best fucking movie I've seen in forever.
Wow.
It's so fucking good, and it's not based off a old IP, and it has yeah, it's not based off anything. It's its own thing, and it has like pretty. It combines
Looks
action.
pretty nuts.
It's amazing, dude. It combines action, it combines comedy, and it combines like a serious family drama all in one without feeling like three different movies stitched together. Like all those Judd Apatow movies, it's like, okay, here's the funny half and here's the sentimental half. And this is like, no, like one scene can switch between funny, action, and sentimental all in the same shot, even. And it's fucking incredible, dude. It's an
I
amazing
noticed
movie.
the Korean film industry has been doing a killer job.
It's not Korean.
I know, but
Okay,
I'm
okay.
just injecting here, like
Yes.
that after watching like so many different Korean productions, I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
this shit is amazing. Like there's actual like thought and they'll go there in the storyline. You're just like, what the fuck? But like it feels like most of the film industry in like Hollywood and even North Hollywood is just like repeating a formula that's familiar to them. Like they're
They're
not really pushing anything.
it's like McDonald's, man. It's like fast food. It's corporate, make a safe, replicable product that will appeal to the most amount of people, not offend anybody, not make people sick, and like what can we export it to as many fucking countries as we can. So I'm not surprised that, we keep seeing the same shit being done over and over and over again. And it's
No,
sad that there's no real place for unique original stories. I can't like we're not
like
getting them.
YouTube, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like I
Yes,
guess,
I
but even
guess.
then, what's the payoff, right? Like,
Where are
unless
you
you're
getting
getting
the attention?
promotions, yeah. Like again,
Where are
we
you
go
getting
back
the
to the
attention?
obscurity. You go back to the obscurity thing. You just fall into all the other cat videos and whatever meme compilations.
YouTube's not going to promote it. The
No,
algorithm's not going to promote it.
no.
You could try and do like one of those niche streaming services that like focus on only one thing, like let's say
Shutter, let's say, if you do a
Shutter,
horror film or something.
exactly, or like I guess Crunchyroll if you're an animator or something
Yeah.
like that. But at the end of the day, you're still competing. So who is what brand or what studio or what machine is going to back you and put you out there? And I, I have no idea. I'm trying to solve that question myself. I mean,
Yeah.
like I used to work with a horror movie company called Deformed Lunchbox. And I'm not working with them right now, but still on great terms with the guys there, Peter Harbour, and he's pretty much the most consistent one there. But like, yeah, shot promo, shot short films, did stuff like that. And the only new stories being made by Hollywood today, the only movies people are willing to go to theaters to see are are horror movies. That's like those are the only movies that make money at the box office.
That's insane.
That and superhero movies. Like
Yeah.
otherwise,
The big
nothing
box
else.
office ones. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So what I'm trying to say is like unless you're based off an IP,
Yeah.
or a superhero movie or like some sort of like, even though this movie fucking probably tanks for all I know, but like, yeah, it's still an IP like Ready Player One or some stupid bullshit like that, or Avatar or some fucking big boondoggle
Insane.
spectacle
Like they have like
bullshit.
$4 billion to invest in
Yeah.
it.
So if you're not that, like people are just going to go see date night horror movies that you can like crank out for anywhere between $2 and $12 million, and
Yeah.
you'll make that money back 3 times over, and sell it overseas or sell the rights to remake it overseas, and but you're not going to
One
see
you brought
another
up everywhere. What was it called again?
Everything Everywhere All at Once, and
That
it's
that was
incredible.
premiered at a festival, I believe, which is the route. If people are watching this and they're like interested in like, yeah, damn, like I know we're talking a lot about how like it is really tough for people to break into an industry, but like
Mhm.
I think this first was at a festival. Where I searched where was it filmed. It was filmed in Southern California, but I believe that they submitted
It's
it
a
to.
fairly big-ish movie. Like, don't get me wrong, it has like real actors in it. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. Michelle Yeoh is in it. Um, I'm excuse me, I can't. Jenny Slate's in it. It was directed by a director duo team called the Daniels. I think it's Daniel Kim and Daniel something more Anglo, and they had done Swiss Army Man before with Daniel Radcliffe. So this isn't a nobody from
A24,
out of
yeah,
nowhere.
yeah. A24 is
Yeah.
like a burgeoning
Oh well,
like
that's the production
that's the
company, and
production company.
they're known
Yeah.
for. Sorry, I'm like moving my camera all over the place.
It's all
Because of
good.
this light, I'm trying to fight the light. Because they're known for like putting out and either releasing or producing all sorts of any non Hollywood big thing ideas.
Yeah.
A24. They're like the lighthouse, and they
That's the
also
key.
do like other shit that just doesn't always do as well. Like they did the movie with Jesse Eisenberg and the Cuckoo Birds, and they're all in that same house.
There was that other like Hereditary and
Yeah, yeah,
Midsummer.
yeah.
They also
Those are
did those ones
A24s
too.
too.
Amazing
And those are
films.
horror movies. Yeah,
Yeah, and horror movies as well.
yeah.
Midsummer was fucked up because it was like the first horror movie where it was like all daylight, where the atrocities were happening. Usually horror depends on the darkness to hide its like
Hmm.
villain or its thing that's coming after the people, but like this was just broad daylight. So
It's
it just took it to a whole different level because your guard is down the whole time, and then they just show you something that you're like, holy shit. But I
it's
mean,
pretty
we
it's
need
pretty
more
great.
production
Go on.
companies like that. But I was gonna say those production companies were started by people. We go right back to that. Just normal people.
Man,
The people that are in Hollywood that are producing like Avatar 2 and like all these big superhero films, they're just too comfortable in those positions. They know that they'll get like millions of dollars to keep making these same crappy films, and people are just gonna eat it up. There's no motivation to be creative.
you know what? I'm not of the mind where I feel like these big $1 billion, $1 million corporations or whatever have like they're set out to make bad art. I don't believe that. I just believe that they're like too there are too many masters to please, too many, you know what I'm trying to say? Where it's like, okay,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
the shareholders want one thing, the international people, funders want another thing, like
Mm-hmm.
we need to hit these certain parameters in order to be sold in China, and the Chinese government and like audiences want those sort of things. And when you're just trying to make a generic product that's all things to all people and pleases everybody, you're gonna and you can't end up with. I mean,
It's gonna come out as not that of an enjoyable experience for some people, which is
it's
always gonna happen,
it's
right?
gonna be less a work of art. It's
Yeah,
gonna be more a product of
consumerism. Who's gonna
consumerism.
consume this the most?
Exactly.
That's what they want.
Exactly. It's a mass-produced consumeristic product. So I don't think the people at Sony want to put out bad movies. I don't think the
I hope.
people at I don't know any other like big studios anymore. I don't think the people
Paramount
at
Pictures,
Paramount or Fox
Warner
Searchlight or
Bros.
Warner Brothers, I don't give a shit. I'm like stuck in
Yeah.
the past. I was almost gonna say Miramax, and I'm like, oh shit.
You're like, well, that's gone
I don't think anyone.
yeah.
Um, I don't think I think Disney even has like their own more mature line of film production company that they release under a different name, but it's still just Disney.
When Disney wants to be naughty.
They do. They have a production
That's
company
great.
that handles more adult fare,
That's so
and
funny.
it's just called something else. But dude, Disney wants to be not. Disney owns everything. Disney owns
Yeah.
ABC and
Yeah.
ESPN
They're
and
the BlackRock of media.
yeah. So um, they're gonna have to. Disney owns Fox and all that other
Yeah.
naughty adult body humor stuff. um, was I even going with? I don't think anybody wants to put out bad
Yeah.
content. I think they just have too many people to please, and that happens when you grow. That happens when you get bigger. That happens when you have other interests doing it. And I'm not saying that the only way to do things is to make the film on your own, like an indie producer, and then try and get it distributed or bought by a bigger company, because how are you going to do that? You know? And, you know, I watch like the VFX artists react on YouTube. And sometimes I feel like, dude, movie making like they make movies, and movie making like I've made movies, or like I've been in stuff. Those are two different fucking things, man. That's so unreal, man. Like I'm like talking about locations, and they're just kind of like, all right, so we rented the studio, and that's everything everywhere all at once. To quote that other fucking movie, man. It's crazy. Things are so different. I'm trying to see. Can I cut out some light here? Yeah, maybe. No.
Yeah, you're getting mad light going through.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting up to. I usually cap it around an hour, so we'll beat the sun here. There's one game that I like to play. I stole this from Hot Ones. I'm just gonna pull up a photo that I dug up from.
Yo, before you do,
Yeah,
I just want to like share this one real quick. March 2019. No, wait, March 2020. I had a venue and deal lined up with this esports company, and I was one of their sponsored talent, and we would kind of go in there, and we were supposed to have a show called NBA 2 Comics, and we only were able to shoot 2 episodes of that. One was with a comedian named Max Ross, who's a hell of an NBA 2K player, and the other one was with a up and coming burgeoning YouTube star at the time, who did stuff in and around the video game space, named Johnny Rogers.
Hey.
We shot those 2 episodes, we streamed them, and then the next week, pandemic. Everything shut down. Everything fucking shut down, and there was nothing anybody could do. And we were all, this was in the whole like, oh, wipe everything down, wipe down your groceries, you know, gloves and masks and everything. Everybody was living in like end times. So hopefully now that we're doing a show together, we bookended it, and it's over. And things can go back to normal.
Pandemic's done now, guys.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that in there. Just wanted to get that one in there.
I love that. Now, tell everyone who this.
Oh, fuck me, man. Facebook is bad. I gotta get rid of shit. Oh my god.
This is Brandon with no beard
and
dancing.
hair.
And
hair. Yeah, and hair. Oh shit. I did ballroom and Latin dance as a teenager in high school, so and that was
disciplinary.
Pardon me? Yeah. I'm a triple threat, baby. Yeah, that was at a competition, which I was there mostly to get my participation trophy, because everyone else had been doing it since they were like 5 years old. And I was doing it since I was 13 or 14. And that was my dance teacher, Gita. And I was like, at that time, it's like literally, I think I just had my first high school dance, and I like didn't dance at all. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna like go learn how to dance, but I'm gonna like learn how to dance. Yeah. And like this was when Dancing with the Stars was huge, or at least bigger than it is now. This wasn't So You Think We Can Dance time yet, because that was a lot more like singular stuff. But this was like Dancing with the Stars, all the ballroom and Latin. So we did waltz, Viennese waltz, cha-cha, rumba, tango, foxtrot. I can't remember most of it. I can maybe still do a cha-cha. I can still do a rumba.
Still got the Macarena down?
I can't do the Macarena. I maybe can, but yeah, like it for a long
back, you're like,
listen, it's still something you can just like whip out and be like, oh, can you dance? Okay, come here. And then you get in position, you hold them, and it's like, ah! It's like, yeah. Best, yeah, great 4-year investment into having a couple party tricks and being able to impress randos at anywhere else. So yeah,
great.
that is that picture. Do you have others, or is that
no?
Is that how the game goes? One picture? Okay, thank God.
It's just the one.
Thank God. Okay. Now I know what I'm doing as soon as we finish. I'm getting on.
He goes, I don't want to get onto actual hot ones and have to answer this question.
Oh my God. I am going on. First off, if I have to go, if that's what it takes to get onto hot ones, you guys have access to my entire family
For
photo
sure. I'll
books.
give you a photo album. You
Yeah.
can pick whatever you want.
Take them all. You can have my goddamn ultrasound from when I was born, man. Like, explain this. Well, when a man loves a woman, 6 months later they go to this clinic and they rub the thing on the belly, and yes, that's me. Yeah, no, I'm going on Facebook after this and deleting everything pre-January.
That's a good move. Another question that I like asking people too is if you can make a phone call to 15-year-old Brandon. This doesn't affect your current timeline. It affects his timeline, though. Just give him a piece of advice.
Oh, man. Fuck. I would say check your ego. Check your ego at the door early. It's going to hold you back for like 10 years. You're going to think that you have too much, that you have nothing to learn. You're going to think that you deserve things that you don't. You're going to think that you are too cool to do the same exercises and improv games and acting workshops and pretend you're a tree, and be like, yo, fuck that shit. Pretend I'm a tree, man. I'm pretending I'm like not that stupid, but like, just, it's like, that sounds dumb, like you're not better than that. You're going to have to go through the exact same pretend you're a tree process and the exact same lines and classes and as everybody else. And don't think you're too cool to be caught practicing in public, man. Like, go take classes, go do things, because you're not, you do have stuff to learn. There's so much more for you to learn. So check your ego, completely check your ego. Go be humble again, because you're going to find out that you're one day didn't learn anything and only knew what you were good at for a while other people, picked up skills. It's like, it's almost like you made fun of that kid in grade school for playing the tuba every day. It's like, ha ha, playing his fucking tuba. And then like one day you realize that, you're selling, insurance, and that person is like leading the orchestra at some sort of thing. And it's just like, man, I wish I kind of went through the indignity or the shame or the humiliation of lugging that stupid tuba around in high school when it didn't fucking matter. Then I have to deal with this like suit and tie and yes, mister, yes, I'm sorry, we'll sell more insurance tomorrow. Yes, I know, like, so yeah, just check that ego, man. Everyone's gonna need to learn it and go through things at their time. Don't be afraid of practice. Don't be afraid of looking silly. Don't be afraid of being uncool or whatever. Just check it.
I love it.
Just check it.
And make sure you check out Brandon on Instagram at Brandon. Is it Zakkai? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
You know what? I actually, Zakkai or Zakkai, I personally have no fucking clue. I have no
what do you prefer, I guess, is the...
I don't care. I don't want to like say one thing and then like be like say like 6 months later, be like, no, I don't like how that sounds. Man, I'm so like, the fact that I'm even in Canada, from like, I got 4 Iraqi grandparents, and then those go into Israel and Iran, and then those go to Canada. Just a series of historical mistakes. So I have fucking no idea. Like, I'm like, I know my culture, but I'm also very detached from it. Zakkai or Zakkai, they're both good. I mean, you either one of those, I'm fucking happy, and you're treating me with respect. Zakkai or Zakkai, like, you're being an ass, bro. Yeah. Zakkai or Zakkai, it's all good.
There's 2 ways to pronounce this.
2. It's tomato or tomato. You're good.
Not tomato. That's not happening.
Not me peto.
Yeah. Also, this will be coming out on the 22nd, but if you are in Toronto, Brandon has a show at Bar Cathedral, Sunday, May 22nd, and doors open at 9:30 with headliner Mark Little.
We have the 4th Sunday of every month at Cathedral. I'm so excited to have Mark Little on the show. I'm a fan. Like, I love his stand up. I love seeing him on TV, and I'm a fan of Gary and His Demons on Amazon. So there's in the middle of my plug, a Mark Little plug.
Yeah, I give him a little plug there too, Mark Means.
Oh, a little Mark Little plug. Oh my goodness.
Mark Little plug. He should come out with a line of plugs called Mark Little plug, and it's just.
Oh my God, there are too many. Oh yeah, okay, that's the plug you're going through. I'm like, I hope he means drain. I hope he means drain. I hope he means drain.
No, I wouldn't rate the butt plug. Thank you guys for listening to the episode. If you're listening on iTunes, don't forget to drop us a 5-star review and share the episode with your friends. That always helps. But until next time, this has been Brandon Zakkai or Zakkai.
Yo, it's been both of them.
It's been both of them.
We're both happy to be here. Both Brandon and I are really happy.
I'm happy to have you, man. Welcome back anytime. I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, though. Until next time, keep it classy. You've been listening to The Johnny Rogers Show. New episodes air every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.